So
Almost
if I may
18
ask,
years.
like, how old are you now?
I'm 54.
You look 30. I'm just so.
I'm 54 years old, yeah.
Guys, welcome back, and this is officially episode 2 on Fit Father. Today we have someone here who's I'm so excited to actually have him. It's Adrian Saffy. So I believe if you can Google a name and every hit is the same name for the next 3 pages, then you must have done something right. So Adrian, welcome and thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's my first time doing something like this, but
But you're not someone who's scared of first
no,
times.
no. Let's,
Definitely not.
yeah.
So, Adrian, you're quite busy, except for because everybody will know you, and this is actually strange. So I knew about you. I don't know how exactly. I have no idea, but I knew Adrian Saffy, and I linked the word run to your name, like a run or adventure. That was kind of what came up in my mind, and I think possibly it had something to do with Ryan Sands. I think you were involved with when he went around Lesotho.
Yes, yeah. I was in a supporting role there, yeah.
Jeez, and that was
Yeah, that
hectic.
proper adventure.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's next level stuff. So what I want to know, and how do you balance everything that you're doing? I mean, you're a father, you're a husband, you're an attorney, you are an absolute adventurist, like outdoors guy, outdoor racing, adventure racing, expedition racing, multi-day events. How do you balance? How do you find time for all of this stuff? And how does the wife handle it? And how yeah, just how do you get through all of this?
Yeah, yeah. It is a bit of a juggling act, but it's a decision you have to make. You know, Andrew, I don't believe in selling my soul to anything. I believe you've got one life, you've got to live it. And I believe that, through living a certain type of lifestyle, you can not only, keep sane in this crazy world, but you can also be a positive, not, I don't want to say role model, but like show that there is a way of doing things. You don't really have to focus and on one specific aspect. You must balance it out. It's difficult because sometimes it's difficult to play that balancing act, and it's difficult with family. It's difficult being married. My wife has to take up a lot of slack when I'm away. I'm older, and I've had kids very late in life. So I've got two small little boys. One's turning 4 in the week this weekend, and the other one's 19
Awesome.
months. So when
Wow.
I'm out there for a week or 10 days, my wife's at home doing her business, taking care of the kids. My business, I'm an attorney as well, so I've got to put that on hold. But it's just a decision. Well, I don't say it was a conscious decision. It was just a way that my life moved, and that I've always been wearing these different hats. So
Yeah.
that's just
And
how
and
it
and
is.
something that's so something I'd really also like to know is exactly how did you end up? Because I mean the sports that you're into and the stuff that you're doing, it's really extreme. This isn't a park run, Saturday morning. So the stuff that you're busy with, how did it end up there? How did you get to the point where you said, listen, I'm gonna do adventure races and multi-day events, and where did that come from?
Yeah, it's a bit of a spiritual journey for me. I've always been sporty, but I was very overweight at school. I was like a fat boy when I was younger, but I was always sporty. So I used to ride BMX, and I used to do martial arts and stuff like that. But I was chunky, so
Yeah.
my bike always had to have the best wheels on and things like that. And in round about standard 9, I don't know what they call the grades nowadays. Standard 8, standard 9, I made a change. I lost a lot of weight. I became very healthy conscious, but I was still, I wasn't doing anything like this. I was doing your mainstream sports, hockey,
Yeah.
cricket. I used to love the outdoors. So I was always an avid
Awesome.
fisherman, and I used to love my hunting and things like that. And um, yeah, and then through my varsity career, also nothing like this. Only when I got older, I had you know, sometimes they say the people that you hang around with, or influencing you and can change
Yeah,
your
definitely.
change your perspective in life. And I was living in a like a house with a couple of guys, and they were all into their running and their cycling and stuff like that. I used to be into my clubbing and nightlife, and I used to come home at 6 o'clock in the morning. These guys were getting up to go training. I used to think, yeah, you guys are crazy. Eh?" So, you know, I lived that party life for quite a while. And then one of my friends, Cujo, said, yeah, I must join them. I must do these small triathlons. The Energy used to have these sprint triathlons. So I bought like a second-hand bike and I started doing this. And then I've always been quite, if you call it, have a bit of a obsessive um, nature. If I want to do something, I want to do it to the
Yeah,
max.
go
You
for
know,
that.
if I want to fish, I want to be the best fisherman. If I want to cardboard, not that I am, but in my mind, I want to do it to the best of my ability. So we said, after we started doing these triathlons, we moved on to the normal triathlon, then some of the ultra triathlons and things like that. And then we said, let's look for the most extreme thing we can do. And we found the Wartrail Tri Challenge in those days. Um, and it was just an extreme event. There was no support. You did a mountain run of 60 Ks, and you got on your bike, you
Jeez.
did a mountain bike of 140 Ks, and then you paddled down the Orange River. And we looked at this thing, and we signed up for it. There were only 12 people doing it. Um,
Only 12.
Only 12. And when I got out there, I felt like this, you know, I was like insignificant. You're in those mountains, and you
Wow.
realize that you think you're a breaker, and in the nightclubs, you're the main man, and you
Mm.
think, you know, everyone, you know, blows air up your
Yeah.
behind. But in nature and
Wow.
in those wild places, you're nothing. I remember that first event. I was looking at the ground and there was these little ants crawling. I was like broken. I think I fell and I dislocated my shoulder or something stupid. And there was a doctor, her and her father, and she like injected me. And I was sitting there feeling sorry for myself, looking at these little ants on the ground. And I thought, yo, these little ants have got a better chance of surviving in this wilderness than what I've got. And I was just humbled, and I it was almost
Sure.
like salvation through suffering type of thing.
Mm.
You know, you just get humbled and you realize there's a bigger picture out there. There's a, you know, there's a creator, and you can't get too too full of yourself or too big of, you know, to think you're bigger than what's out there. And that salvation through suffering sort of just recurred. And I don't know if it was the guy that organized that event. He was going to do some work overseas. He was
Yeah.
a military contractor, and he said, "Well, he's not going to do it. Do I want to take over these events?" I knew nothing about them, and I said,
Just
"I'm in." And we took over the events, and yeah, we've been going for like over 20 years with them, and I've just through through doing these extreme things, that that's what grounds me. It takes away the clutter,
mm.
just makes you realize, keeps you humble, realize who you are, appreciate life, appreciate your health, appreciate your mobility, appreciate your family, and
That's
yeah, it just
beautiful.
makes you appreciate things.
That's beautiful. Wow. And through these events and through all the stuff happening. So sorry, I just want to just go back to that specific one. Those are big numbers: 60 k's, 140 k's, whatever the case may be. Paddle down the Orange River. So did you finish or did that fall
No, no, we finished. We had
finished?
to finish. There was nothing, you know, in those days,
Right.
it was a bit rogue. There's no marshals on the mountain. There's no ways of
Yeah,
anyone
it's
getting you off there. So when you start, you're committed,
you have to go.
and you got to go through. And you know, once you've done that, and you realize, you know, you've got the ability to do that, and you're going to suffer, and it's not lacquer. Um, no one can really tell me that was enjoy it being
Of
in
course,
that hurt box the
of
whole
course.
time, but it's it just makes you stronger, and it makes you aware of what you're capable of. So we did finish that, and I was hooked from then. It's never been. I think from that year, it was 2005. From that, every year until now, I've done some sort of expedition in 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 a year, sometimes two, like major expeditions. So yeah, it's been like that for the last,
Jeez.
what, we're in 2023 now, so
So
almost
if I may
18
ask,
years.
like, how old are you now?
I'm 54.
You look 30. I'm just so
I'm 54 years old. Yeah,
like 2005.
young
So
wife, marry a young wife. They say that you're
uh
only as old as the woman.
yes, 54. Are you okay? So anyway, so that's a very yeah, that's a fun fact. So tell me, and then obviously through these events and through doing this, so I understand there's something much more, like it's something deeper behind all of it. And that's beautiful. You said, being in that hurt box and the way it makes you grow and it makes you stronger and it just makes you appreciate family and makes you appreciate a lot of things a lot more. Um, you also got involved with fundraisers and or
Yeah. So with doing these extreme events, it does gain some attention.
mm,
And from the beginning, with our business, with Pure Adventures, um, it's always been our ethos, basically, to try and raise some sort of funding or awareness or
awesome.
things like that with our events. And I just carried it through with our expeditions. It's it just gives you goals. So if you're doing something for
Mm.
a cause
Is
and people are relying on you and backing up, it just gives you the extra
extra
motivation,
motivation, I
that
understand.
all the hurt and the suffering and the discomfort is not just for no cause. You're actually doing it for a good cause. So it's actually a
Mm.
motivating factor. So it's a bit of a selfish
Way to like get to
way
go
of
and
doing things, because you
yeah,
don't want to let people down and people are backing you, and
yeah.
it's not just, oh, I'm tired now, I'm going to stop. You're doing it for a cause. So yeah, we've been doing that over the last couple of years. Uh, I must admit, these last few stupid years of everything being locked down has changed a lot of people's abilities to give and things like that. But
Mm.
it doesn't matter how much you raise, it's just awareness. And so I've been doing that, and I just find also to make it personal, to do things that are personal to you, or to do things for people that are in your inner circle, or
I
something's
understand.
personal to them.
Mm.
Just makes it more, you know, uh, uh, just gives it more credibility, and also makes it more important for you
Yeah, yeah.
to
And
do.
and I remember when I was reading up a bit and like kind of trying to figure out where you're busy because it's literally everywhere. It's very hard to find a line of what happened in your life. But so I remember reading about the one I think it was called is it Children in the Wilderness or something? Does that
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes, 100%. So,
yeah.
so children in the wilderness. So I've had the privilege of being a guide on the Tour de Tuli. So the Tour de Tuli was a fundraiser for children in the wilderness. So they teach, in the wilderness areas, they teach children about sustainability, why it's important to have wildlife, the eco, you know, uh,
Okay.
the importance of generating income through ecotourism, so that nothing's just depleted. Because today I need firewood, so I'll just chop down the whole tree. That type of mentality. It's
Yeah.
why conservation is important. And so the Tour de Tuli was their main fundraiser for through all the years. And in the COVID times, naturally all those events and that were stopped, and that
Mm-mm.
income. So it's yeah, I love that. I love that event, and I love that whole concept. So I rode the Freedom Circuit, about 800K mountain bike ride, and self-supporting, and you got certain checkpoints. And I thought, yeah, let's do it as a fundraiser
Awesome.
for the children in the wilderness.
Wow. Okay. So you actually used the mountain bike and just and you put that on top of it as an extra.
Yeah, to try
As an
and
extra.
just raise
Yeah.
some funds, and generate. Not that it makes a
Mm.
massive difference. It's a drop in the bucket, but it
Yeah.
creates
Yeah.
awareness as well, and it's I
Sure.
think everybody helps. So
Okay. And then so you said Pure Adventures. You're busy. You've been going for 20 years now.
yeah, Pure Adventures around it, I think since I think the actual entity started a couple of years around about 2007, 2008. But we've been going for a while.
I think I finished matric 2004, and 20 years ago. I mean, that puts you. I really can't believe that you're 54. I'm struggling with that. I mean, that puts you at about like you were around about th was 30ish
Late
somewhere.
30s, yeah.
Yeah, like wow. And Pure Adventure. So I understand you are also you do work for or you help with the Skyrun and with.
Yeah, we organize the Skyrun. It's the oldest mountain ultra in the country. It's been going for 27 years. So we organized that. We took it over in 2005.
Wow.
We organized the Four Peaks. We also took that over around about that same period. And we organized the Wartrail Tri Challenge, that initial event that got me into the sport.
Oh, that was the Wartrail.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that we took over, and then and we also organized. We partners, but we organized an event in Cape Town called the Maxi Race. And then in my personal capacity, I organize like some adventure races and things like that.
Just more extras.
Yeah.
More races to go and do. That's awesome. Now, so tell me, of all the races, of everything that you've done, which one is the one that you'll never be able to forget?
Yeah, there's so many. Like the adventure races, every expedition is on its own account super tough. But like running wise, I think the Skyrun has to be up there in the world. It's recognized as one of the toughest runs because it's at altitude. It's unsupported. You got to carry everything with you. A British magazine actually touted it as the race that might kill you. It's extreme weather. There's nothing groomed about it. It's raw. It's
tough.
It's rugged. So for a run, I think that must be one of the, well, personally, and I might be a bit biased, but in all honesty, I think that must be.
That's it.
The run in this country.
Yeah.
And also it's over private ground, so you can't just really go do it. You have to do it during the event. So it's not accessible throughout the year, where a lot of these other runs, they're over areas that are accessible to anyone.
Yeah, so
they just link them together. So the Skyrun for me is it's a super event. It's a mountain run. It's a proper challenge.
What type of distances?
100K.
100K.
That's the long one, and then we got a 65K and a 38K. They're all tough. Don't think if you're going to enter the 38K, it's a walk in the park. They're all tough. But races, tough. Yeah. Every single adventure race or expedition race is tough because it's designed to take you to the edge.
Yeah.
Different environments, different places. Some are prettier than others. Some are more desolate than others, but it will. They're just designed to keep you busy for 4 or 5 days non-stop.
Yes.
And
as you in the wilderness, you in nature.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's crazy. Now when you do something like that, I mean, so obviously you've been extremely active in running and training, and it's been kind of like it's a lifestyle. It's not just but how do you? Is there special preparation before those big events? So let's say you want to do the Skyrun, then.
Yeah, you see, I'm a bit unique in the sense of I don't classify myself as a runner. I'm not a runner. I run, but I'm not a runner. I'm not fast. I don't chase times.
Yeah.
I'm distance. For me, it's about endurance and keep on going. I'm a mountain biker, but I'm not an elite mountain biker. You understand? So for me, it's basically just having the ability to do all these things. And then over years, you build up a certain level of endurance.
Just a natural endurance.
Yeah, so you got to remain fit. But when I was younger, I used to do much more training, or when I didn't have children. My training was much larger capacity than now. But now for the last 4 years, I do what I do to maintain. But I've got the mental strength, and I've got the ability to suffer, and I know what to expect. And I know the lows are going to go through the highs. You can never be fit enough for these events. You can be fit, but it's 30% fitness, 70% mental. Yeah, and then you got to throw in your nutrition and your
Yeah,
sleep
yeah, of
strategies and
course.
stuff like that. So fitness is if you got your base fitness and you maintain a fitness level and you keep your body in check. So I train with a trainer, Adrian Leroux. So I do a lot of gym work,
Mm.
like functional
Mm.
training. But my actual time on the road running and cycling, because in all honesty, used to get up early in the mornings, go do your long runs and your cycles. And now children, they awake at 5:30 and they want to jog. So you go out a bit later, and to go and do a 6 hour ride on a Sunday morning, I'll maybe do a 2 hour ride,
Yeah,
a 3 hour ride, and spend the rest of the time.
of
Because otherwise
course.
you do a 6 7 hour ride and you mess for the rest of the day.
Yeah, yeah,
But when you get home, those kids want to jog.
yeah,
It doesn't matter.
yeah, yeah.
They don't care if you've raced for 5 days. When you get home, they want their time. So I think for me, it's just because I've been doing it for so long, I've sort of got that conditioning, and then you just maintain. You're never as good as what you could be if you could train as well, but
Mm.
you wing it. You understand? You get
Yeah,
by it. You suffer more and
yeah,
that,
yeah.
but you cope. But it's a payoff. You can't. You've only got this one time in your life to enjoy your kids when they're young. So I, I I'd
That's
rather go
awesome.
in it with no training than
I understand.
sacrifice too much of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, with you said the one's 18 months and the other one is
Yeah, 19 months and one's 24 this coming
24,
Friday. Yeah.
2 years. Well, yeah, 2 years old. 24
Four,
months.
four,
Yeah.
and the other one is 19 months. Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son's just over 2 years now as well. So busy. Next
Yeah.
one on the way. Also wait. Yeah, well, and actually not that long. I mean, they're about the same size. So my friends, like when we were in our 20s, just everybody just got married and had kids in their 20s. Like so.
No,
Anyway.
I think there's that advantage to being a bit older when you have children.
Mm,
Yeah, I think you just appreciate it a lot more, and you're a bit more
mm,
settled, and you're not as wild in your own ways.
yeah.
Because yes, I think when I was late 20s, I was a wild,
Yeah.
and I don't think I had that. Well, I
For
suppose you learn to have that responsibilities, but I think I was just
maybe better to
better to
only
have waited.
get involved a
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
later
yeah,
on in
yeah.
life. I agree. I agree fully. So then with these events, does the family ever go with you? Do they ever like go and stay over? Do they?
Yeah, it's a
Mm,
difficult thing because the events we organize, I'm always busy,
yeah.
always on the mountain somewhere. I'm never at one place, so
Yes.
it's
Yes.
it doesn't help
Them sitting.
them coming there. And with young kids, they don't understand that you got to divide your attention. You got to be paying attention. Yeah, you can't actually give them the attention, so it's actually more of a hassle.
Yeah.
They've come with a couple of the short events like the Four Peaks and things like that. They've been there, but then there's a lot to keep them entertained. But extreme events, um, yeah, definitely when my sons are older, they'll do all that stuff. But right now, you can't be concerned about taking care of their needs and looking after the whole field of athletes. And if someone's hurt, you got to go out there and get
Yeah.
them.
Then worry
Yeah,
about.
so it's difficult. And then with the adventure racing, last year was going to be my last expedition race.
Mm?
For a while, just because of the fact that you're off the radar. You're not allowed any communication with the outside world.
Yes.
No cell phones, no GPS. So it's difficult for me to race for 4, 5, 6 days, not
Yeah.
knowing what's going on at home and
Of
not knowing
course.
how my kids are and how my
Oh,
wife's coping. And then so I was going to call it last year, and then this year the World Championships came to South Africa. So I said, okay, I'll do this year
and then
and race this year. So I'm actually doing one now in October, the World Championships.
okay.
And after that, I think I'll call it for a while for myself. I will still be involved and I'll still maybe do shorter races.
Mm-mm. But your focus might shift a bit more only to the events themselves.
Yeah, and to organizing some
Yeah,
of the events.
the organizing. Yeah.
Because when I'm scouting, I can take the lighties with and I can
Yes.
take it's
Oh, that's
there's
nice.
no
It's a
it's
family.
precious, so I can make them part of that. But for me to train specifically for one single event and then I'm out of communication for a week, I also have to enjoy it. And for me, I do enjoy it, but I don't enjoy not speaking, not knowing what's going on at home.
Yeah.
Because a lot can happen in 7 days.
Yeah, of course.
And no one can get hold of you.
Yeah,
Or,
that's
you know, you don't know what's going on, how people are coping. So,
yeah. As a father, that's a bit
yeah,
like
that's the worst.
stressful. Yeah.
In um, the last events that I've done with my kids around, I don't mind if I can communicate. If I
Yeah.
can get them, FaceTime them on the phone or whatever, that's fine. But those races, and that's the thing about adventure racing, there's no communication. So, um, I remember the last race we did in Lesotho. That was my biggest hurdle, basically.
Yeah.
Is not knowing what's going on at home. I'm in a different country.
Yeah. I
It's
see.
not easy to get access in and out. My firstborn, I did a race in Rodrigues Island. We did an adventure race there, and my wife still had 2 weeks before he was due. And when I finished the race, I got on a plane. I landed in South Africa, I think, at 10 o'clock the Saturday morning, and it came like the next morning, like early hours of the morning. So I just made it in time.
Close. Close call.
Yeah, otherwise I would have been in big problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, things like that. So, you know, you're off the beaten track and stuff like that. So I'll just give it a bit of a break. I'll always be active, and I'll always do adventurous
of
things,
course.
like
It's
my own stuff, you know, climbing and stuff. But I want to do things, focus more on them and taking them with and
yeah.
spending
It's,
time with them in the
changes
bush.
the whole
Yeah,
dynamic.
because that you got to pass it on.
I was, I was a lot of guys out there may actually use this type of stuff as an escape from stuff, and that's not the case with you. It's so what I'm trying to say is the fact that now the kids are there and the wife and the family life, and it's important for you. You want to try and pull them in a way, and actually take them with you and go do stuff with you, and a lot of other guys may be running away from home actually.
Yeah, no. I've got lots of friends that are proper adventurers, and
Yeah.
they make a living out of it. And they're away for extended periods of time, but they're getting paid for it, and
Yeah.
they're supporting their family,
Yeah.
and it's their way of life. You know, it's like for me, I see a rugby player that's playing international games. He's not at home much, but
Yeah.
he's providing for his family. What I'm doing, I'm not talking about my events, but what I do for myself is essentially, it's quite selfish because it's for myself.
Yeah.
You know, it's the way I reboot and I reset, and you know that I've done that for many, many years, and I've still actually been doing it now in the last couple of years when my kids are small. But there's a time when you got to invest in them, and it doesn't help them just hearing about things like that. They must experience it. Go camp. You know, my
Most
little
definitely.
boy,
Yeah.
we've been camping in the mountains. He was 3 years old. You know,
Wow.
rainstorms, hail. You know, I want to expose him to that type of stuff, and I want to do stuff with them while I've still got the ability. You know,
Awesome.
as they're growing up, still do adventurous things, but not these extended things that
I understand. Yeah.
take you away from home for so long. Yeah.
And tell me, so is there any like if you look at law, look at your work, what you do, are there any similarities or anything that something that you learn maybe from running, from your adventures, and something a place where that kind of links up to what you do during the day, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, there's a massive. You know, the thing is knowing that you can do extraordinary things, not because you're good, just because that's in your ability, the power. It almost gives you some form of perspective on everyday life.
Yeah.
Because things can get hectic, and you can think everything is, you're under stress, and you got to finish this, and you got to do things like that. But at the end of the day, there's a bigger picture, and at the end of the day, it's important, but it's not life threatening. It's not survival. If it waits a couple of hours, it'll get done. A lot of people get flustered by pressure and by deadlines and things like that. But when you you do extreme sort of things, you realize that everything's got its time, and there's that mantra. I've got a mantra: if you panic, you die. Because in the wilderness, if you panic, you die. You got to stay calm. You got to So I
Keep
think
your
I
head on.
think I think it just, you know, especially also in the law game, it gives you perspective of, you know, like you don't get caught up, you don't become caught up in this whole business of you know, this corporate world and
Mm,
dog eat dog world type of thing. Like, you know,
mm.
there's other purpose out there. You've got, you just gives you a different perspective
Yeah.
on things. You know,
Yeah.
you know what's important and what's not important. You know,
Yes.
and actual fact, you know what we need to survive in this world, and a lot of what people think they need to survive is not really what they need, because you know, you just need certain basics, and
Mm.
if you've got those basics covered, then
Yeah.
you're okay. You'll,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, you. But a lot of people don't see that. They just get caught up in this whole
Call it the rat race or
rat
whatever.
race. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
It's sad. It's no, no, no. You said you only have one life, and we need to live it. It's I think the majority of people don't even they really don't get what that means. So many people just every single morning it's just this wheel kicking back in and just
But Andrew, the thing is that society, society doesn't want us
mm,
to be wild people. It doesn't want us to be have to know that we got the ability to, you know, be feral and wild and untamed, because
yeah,
they want a world of robots that just comply, because it's easy if people just
yeah,
comply. If everyone had a bit of a
a wild side.
wild side and a wild attitude and not just willing to comply, you know, it doesn't make the, their job easier.
Mm,
And that's why, you know, this whole movement of of soft males, soft men.
mm,
Um, you know, it's shocking to see how many men don't don't know normal basic essentials to survive.
mm,
You know, you put them in a situation where they got no electricity, they got no cell phone, they got no water, got they will shrivel up. They're supposed
yes,
to be
definitely.
the caretakers, the hunters, the gatherers. They don't know how to do it anymore, and
Yeah,
that's a majority.
yeah, yeah.
There's a very few, only a handful of people out there that I would classify as not as men. All men. They all got a penis. Or they can nowadays you can decide what you want to be, but that I would classify as being capable of,
Yeah,
when when the pawpaw hits the fan,
they,
of taking care of their
yeah,
loved ones, and taking care of their own. Where money doesn't mean anything,
mm,
where there's chaos out there and there's anarchy, being able to protect, to
so true.
provide, and things like that. And that's what I want to teach my boys, because it's not easy out there nowadays. The world is trying to tell you, no, that's not right. You must just comply. You sit down there, don't worry, keep quiet, don't be too aggressive, don't have opinions, and everything's there. You just go to the supermarket, you get your food, you meat, but let them
Mm,
cut all those things.
mm, nothing left.
What's going to happen, you know? And so I still want to instill those traditional values in my boys. And you know, that's just my view and opinion
That's
on it.
awesome. Wow. And tell me, so the things that you say, you said it's it's a bit selfish because it's for you, but still, I mean, you know that you are inspiring and you are inspiring people. And what what would you say to guys? I had a discussion a bit earlier before you got here. I was speaking to Villian, and I said, it's easy when a guy's sitting, watching on a TV, someone camping, someone catching fish, bow hunting, running, mountain biking, climbing, out in the wilderness, out and having adventures. It looks nice. It looks romantic. Honey, let's go camp or glamp. I don't know what they call it nowadays. And but get up and do it. Get up and actually expose yourself to that stuff. So for inspiring others and guys who maybe someone who is sitting back and maybe he's lost like he can't remember. I can actually do this. I can
Yeah.
get up and go and enjoy this.
So the bottom line is that's what we were designed to do. God created us like that. Um, we were designed to be out there, to be hunter gatherers, to appreciate. You know what? You can't appreciate the creation in the world sitting in a room lit by neon lights and full of TVs and clutter and sound. The earth, nature is more powerful than any government. It's more powerful than any military. You look at these natural disasters. Humankind crumbles with all our technology and all our think we're clever and we can build all these walls, and you have one natural disaster and we humbled. We brought to our knees. But the world out there, it's got a beat. It's got a rhythm. If you respect nature and you respect the world, and you in that environment, and you drinking water out of a stream, you catching a fish that you're gonna eat, you controlling numbers of animals by 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 for example hunting and things like that. You're actually custodians of nature. So it teaches you to respect the earth.
Beautiful.
Which is going to, at the end of the day, take care of us. We've
Beautiful.
only got one system over here that's going to take care of us. There's only so much water available to humans. There's only so much ground out there. So you have to take care of it. Otherwise, you're going to get spat out and chewed up and spat out.
I think from now on, I will refer to you as the Cameron Haynes of Bloemfontein.
No, definitely not. No ways. No.
That's awesome stuff. Yeah, so the guys who are sitting at home, and I think there's a sense of you know when you're a bit lost sitting at home. You know when you've kind of disconnected from that. You said this is what we've been created for. This is how we were built. That's how we were made. And I think, and I believe that there are many guys out there that feel a disconnect. They feel like there's like a hole, and they're struggling to fill that hole. And they might be looking for, filling up that hole with the complete wrong stuff. And these guys, the guys must stand up. They must stand up and they must go and do the stuff.
For sure, and it's going to humble you.
Get outside.
Yeah, and it does humble you.
It does.
When you're out there and you're cold at night but it's just under the surface. That's what you were created for. That's what, from the beginning of time, this is what we've been doing.
Yeah.
We've been fighting battles. We've been surviving. We've been gathering. We've been hunting. We've been providing. We've been using, God gave us this to use and to live off. But nowadays we're relying on everyone else to just provide. And there's a lot of guys, you might think you the stuff, dude, because you got 42-inch biceps and you sit in gym and and things like that. But go out there and see if those muscles are going to help you when you got to, you just basically in the elements, and then it's knowledge. It's a whole lot of, it's a whole lot of different things that humble you. And I think that's the bottom line, is being out there humbles you. It makes you appreciate your abilities that you were given, your health, and appreciate nature. Just that quietness, and that's what I get out of it.
I remember I was I left Bloem twice. I've left Bloem twice, and I came back each time. But I grew up here. My roots are here. My family, everybody's here. But I was in Mossel Bay when I was 21, and kind of just drove there with my Golf. I didn't have anything, didn't have a plan, didn't have a job, just went there. And I literally drove into Mossel Bay, and I decided I'm going to stay in Mossel Bay. And I spent a night or two in my Golf. I made arrangements at the caravan park for a shower. I ate a very, very cheap sunrise breakfast at the Rosebud restaurant, Dias Strand. And anyway, so my story it was cool. So I met someone there, and I stayed, a friend, and he arranged for a place for me to stay at his grandmother's house. And I ended up spending about 2 years there. And I remember driving to the point with my wetsuit on, and just kind of thinking to myself and seeing, how many people, they're there, they live there, but they've forgotten about what's going on there. And I was in the water so much, and on those routes, and just like running and climbing and busy outdoors. And I remember weekends going to the point and just like I would spend the entire morning, you know, snorkeling and just be out there in the ocean. And it definitely has a massive effect on your soul, on your mind, on
Yeah.
just who you are, and it stays with you forever. When I asked you the other Nano about, you know, which one was the one, and you said, oh, there are so many. I can relate in that way with, you know, so which day was the best one? I also stayed in Knysna for about 2 years. Lived in Brenton on Sea. I said I'm not going to stay in town. I was in Brenton on Sea, and I remember in Knysna waking up it's like, today I'm going to go do the, I think it was the brown hooded something. There's a trail in wilderness, and I'll just pick the hardest route and see how fast I can do it, and go up the mountain and go down and run to Toes River waterfalls, and every single one of those times, every event, every, you know, everything that I went to do for myself, getting up in the morning and decided today I'm going to run the Elephant Trail. I have no idea where it is, don't know how long it is, but that's what I'm going to do for the day. It definitely stays with you. It
Yeah.
changes, it changes your way of thinking, your perception of, you know, hardships and stuff in life. It just changes you as a human.
Yeah, 100%. It does it. And especially with me, I grew up and my defense was offense, always growing up, So in my genetic DNA, I know my wife doesn't want to hear this, but sort of ingrained in me,
Mm.
my defense is offense. You
Mm.
understand?
I understand. Yeah.
So when I'm backed up, I come off aggressive because like I say like it's
Yeah.
like almost I'm growling like you don't even
Yeah.
come here. And before I did this stuff, that was my only
Mm.
defense. But
Mm.
now that builds up, it builds up, it builds up, it builds up, and you get angry. Then you go out and you just like humbled again, and you remember those things. So, it's always I think suffering and doing these things. First of all, you're suffering, but you're also seeing awesome places, and you seen places that not many people will see. You're experiencing experiences
Mm.
that people don't get to. So it's work to receive these rewards. You
Mm.
got to do something, and it normally involves your feet, your
Yeah.
bike, or your. It involves some sort of going off grid type
Yeah.
of thing to experience these experience. So there is suffering involved, but the rewards are greater.
Mm.
But for me, the main thing is it ground. It's like a reset button. It's just
Sure.
like, all right, just reset and recharge and be grounded. Don't get too, just
Too cocky.
just
Too
just be humbled.
too comfortable.
Yeah, too comfortable. That's it.
Yeah. Too comfortable. I think the moment you start feeling really really comfortable, you need to get the hell
Yeah,
out fast.
yeah, that's it.
So, you mentioned that this year it's the World Champs, and is 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 that going to be the grand finale?
Y-
Or
you know what? God willing, if I've still got my health,
mm,
when
which
my
it
kids,
seems that you will
yeah,
still.
yeah, but you never know. It happens so quickly. I pop a calf muscle
Yeah.
this weekend, like in
Mm,
a split second, things change. I I want to. I'll maybe go back to things when I can do them with my lighties or
awesome.
take them on expeditions. I won't stop. Like I
Awesome.
say, I'll
Awesome.
always do something comes up, but it's not going to be my focus. Like
Yeah.
no, my focus was every year I've got to do this. I've got to
Mm,
do that. If you don't do it, you feel like it's a waste.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, and as the kids get older and there's more time and they understand things more and they can do things more, you can never say you're not gonna live this type of lifestyle because it's part of you.
Mm-mm.
But just scale it down a bit. But invest now your knowledge and your time, your knowledge and your skill set and
Yeah.
your
But
abilities in your children. Try and
pay it
teach them
forward.
the
Pass
basics.
it on.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And hopefully that carries because
Sure.
that's a legacy. If you know all you've got all this knowledge and you know how to do all these things, you know how to navigate with the map at compass, you know how to survive in the mountains, you know what to look for, where to find clean drinking water, you know how to survive in these things, and you don't pass it on, then what's the point?
Mm,
That's so I want my kids to learn things, and to I'm not going to force them to do it, but just to sow that seed.
mm,
And I remember myself. people sowed seeds when I was younger. Then I went totally off the rails, but those seeds were always there that you can
Yeah.
come back to it later in life.
Stayed there.
So just to leave that base foundation. And if they love it and they want to do it with me, great. If they do it because they come in with me and they got no say because they're too small at this stage, and when they are old enough to say that, that's their choice. I
Yeah.
can't force them to love, because
Yeah.
that's the quickest you turn away. Because we
Of
all go
course.
through that stage. We all
Yeah.
go through a rebellious stage and things like that. But the seed will be planted, and that's what I hope to do. Just plant that seed.
I remember. So just I was adopted when I was a baby, and a while back I was sitting with my father, just talking about the whole adoption thing, and I ever asked him, does he ever feel bad not having a blood son? And he said, for him, the most important thing is that he, who he is, him as a human being, that can live on, not the blood, which was just beautiful. It really had me thinking a lot now with my own son and whatever's on its way. That's an awesome, that's
Yeah,
an awesome way to look at it.
that's
Beautiful.
It's a legacy you leave.
So, Adrian, yeah, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. It's awesome. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You got a beautiful setup here, so I really wish you guys strength to strength, and maybe we catch up sometime soon.
Awesome. One last thing. So, and maybe we already touched on this a bit, but just any advice, any takeaway, somebody watching this, some advice for that guy sitting there watching this right now.
Just do it. Get out of your comfort zone. Don't try and be this much a year and try something too big. Take small steps. Go on a hike. Go, go to 7 dams and start walking on those trails. You understand? Just get out there. Get on a fitness bike. I believe nowadays make use of technology, make use of a trainer, get fitness. At the end of the day, your health, your mobility, your vitality is what's important. If you haven't got that lust for life and that energy, the people around you aren't going to get that from you. And anyone can do it. You can just start off small, and as you progress and you get better, you become more comfortable, and it can grow. And you don't have to do things in extreme, but just have the ability and know what's out there, and be healthy, be fit, be able. Because I don't want to be I'm not a conspiracy theorist and things like that, but you just look at the times now. We can't even drink water out of our taps anymore. We used to be able to drink water out of our taps.
Yeah.
We got load shedding. We got electricity off for how many hours a day? It doesn't seem that we're going forward. It seems that we're going backwards.
Actually heading back.
And the problem is, do you have the abilities when we are at that stage of there is no electricity for days, there is this blackout for a couple of weeks, there is no water, you run out of water, the shops don't have distilled water, you got to go and make, do you have the ability to survive, to take care of your family, or do you have to rely on other people to do that? Because then you're not providing, then you rely on. And I'm just using that's an extreme version, but have the ability as a man to be able to do these things.
Yes.
I don't say you must go and shoot your own animal and eat it now. But just be out there, know what it is, have the ability to be able to go and look for these things, take care of yourself, because the facts are speaking for themselves. We're going forward in technology, but it seems like everything is actually going backwards.
Yeah, most definitely.
And that's just my take on it. And where's it going to be in 50 years?
That's awesome. Adrian, thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Very much.
Appreciate it.
Awesome stuff, guys. So I'll leave a link for, is there a link, something Pure Adventures, where they can go and check you guys out, or maybe the links to the different challenges?
Oh, so the Pure Adventures page is there, just Pure Adventures. and on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
And then you can find all the links to the other events and things like that there.
Perfect stuff. We'll add that to the description below. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Adrian, thank you for coming in. I hope to see you again.
Thanks, Andrew.
All of the best.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Cheers.
How's it?